Hey everyone, this is Leonidas M. Natanian with Bar.io. At Bar.io, we strive to make real estate accessible for everyone. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to turn your home into a real estate empire. Yes, 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 it sounds a little bit sensationalist, but in reality, this is what people actually do to buy multiple homes. You may know that one person who by just happenstance has several homes collecting a lot of rent and they work at a 9 to 5 regular salary job and you wonder to yourself like, how did this person earn so much money that they bought a bunch of homes. Now it could have been an inheritance, but if you play your cards right, you too could turn your current home into a potential real estate empire. And let's go ahead and try to show you how this might actually occur. So this is the title here. I would like to request that you follow me on Instagram, check out my website, um, hit the subscribe button and all that kind of jazz. So without further ado, let's kind of jump into it. So what I'm going to try to explain to you today is this. You have a single home that you're trying to turn into maybe a duplex or two homes. From there, you're trying to make it even a larger empire, say apartment complexes, and then eventually commercial, maybe industrial. Whatever the case may be, however you want to leverage it into the future, these techniques are going to work when we're talking about residential. So let's go ahead to the next. So there's four options that are available to you if you don't already know all of these. And I'm going to explain to you what these four options are. If you own a home right now, you may be sitting on something called home equity. This is where the value of your home exceeds the amount that you owe on the home. Normally, most traditional loans require you to put a 20% down payment. That 20% down payment is effectively equity that you instantly have in the home. Now, there's a lot of rules that come with actually trying to tap into your home equity when it comes to borrowing money against it. I'm not going to go into those nuances, but I am going to just show you in general how you could use that leverage. You could use that home equity loan to leverage into more properties. So first and foremost, I'm going to be talking to you about just the traditional home equity loan. Now, a home equity loan is basically a second mortgage. This is where, let's say your home is worth $100,000 and you owe $50,000 on your mortgage. Well, hypothetically, you could take out another $50,000 loan against the value of your home in order for you to have $50,000 cash to then buy a second home. Now, effectively, this is called the collateral. So the home equity, you're using it as a second position mortgage to then collateralize the loan, meaning secure the loan with the rest of the value of your home in order to get more money. What ends up happening here is that you make two different payments. Usually the first mortgage that you own or that you have and that you owe money to doesn't change. So the terms stay the same, the borrowing periods, whatever terms that you've already agreed to, that never changes. So continue paying that first mortgage as you will. And when you take out a home equity loan, you basically take out a second mortgage. Now, sometimes that second mortgage could be a different servicer. So let's say that you have your first mortgage with Bank of America. You're continuing to pay payments to Bank of America, and then let's say that your second mortgage is with Wells Fargo, and now you're paying money to Wells Fargo in a separate check. So that is one of two most common ways to do that. The second one is a home equity line of credit, a HELOC. Now, a HELOC effectively works like a credit card. It has the same principle as a home equity loan, whereas you're borrowing against the equity of your home, but rather than taking out a loan and making a fixed sum bid similar to how you would have your first mortgage, what it is effectively like a credit card with much more favorable rates. The benefits about HELOCs are a multitude. One is you have that money instantly available to you whenever you need it. So a cool thing to do is if you have equity in your home, you could take out a HELOC and you never have to use it. You don't have to use a single red cent from your HELOC. And what that allows you to do is it allows you to wait to find the right deal to then purchase your property. Yes, you're paying slightly higher interest rates than if you would take out a second loan or a second mortgage loan, which is your home equity loan. But at the same time, you're in the HELOC, you're paying one, interest only. So you don't have to pay the principal back, just the interest portion every month, and that you have it available almost any time. Personally, I like the HELOC only because it gives me optionality, meaning I don't have to use it when I don't need it. And when I find the right deal that I want to strike, I have a big chunk of money available for me to draw upon in order for me to buy a second property or a third or a fourth. Now, the next one is cash out refinancing. So cash out refinancing involves refinancing your existing mortgage for a higher amount than you currently owe. So it has the same principle. If you home is worth 100,000, you owe 50,000, you could hypothetically borrow 50,000. Another 50,000 making it a total 100,000. The pros and cons here is that if you were to do this, if there's you basically replace your first mortgage that you had, let's say it was with Bank of America, and now what you would do is you would effectively go with the second servicer or completely pay a new servicer. So let's say the second servicer, as we mentioned in our previous example, was Wells Fargo. You would now be making a single payment to Wells Fargo for the entire amount of the loan. There's pros and cons here as well. If the current interest rates are higher than what your first mortgage was, I don't necessarily recommend doing that. It would make sense in certain instances, but not necessarily all the time. And it does something another thing that it does is re-amortizes your loan. A lot of people don't realize this piece of it, which is if you've had your loan for some time, you have been steadily making payments against the principal portion. And so let's say it's most loans in the United States are 30-year fixed periods or 30-year periods, amortization tables. If you've been paying it for like 10 years, if you take out a cash out refinance, you're basically going to reset that, you know, the 10 years, you're going back, you have to pay another 30 years. So depending on your age, depending on a lot of different factors, this may be a good option for you, or it may not be. Anything I say, obviously, you need to probably, I hope it's obvious that you need to probably talk to a financial expert about. This isn't financial advice. I'm not telling you to do something or not do something. I'm just merely giving you the options of what I know. The last one is cross-collateralization. Now, this one is a little bit rarer for the audience, but I wanted to put this in here because you could actually use the equity in multiple properties to then secure a loan for one property that you want to buy. And this is effectively for people who have been doing this for quite some time. If you have a portfolio of rental properties, then what you could do is use that portfolio rather than an individual property to collateralize a new loan for an additional purchase. A lot of REITs do this, but I'm not going to get into that. But those are the four ways, and let's go back and effectively tell you how you could take your single family home and make it into a potential purchase properties that are much bigger than what you own today. So going back to that example of that person who has a regular 9 to 5 job, how do they have multiple properties? Well, most likely like this. They owned their home. They took out some form of financing, be it a home equity loan, be it a HELOC, maybe a cash out refinance. And what they did was that then they used that money to purchase the second home. The second home is now cash flowing with income. Hypothetically, the rental income that you collect from your second home should cover the costs of servicing the mortgage and so forth. So now what you're doing is you, with the same old 9 to 5 job, is making your regular payments to your mortgage. Meanwhile, a renter or a leasee is paying you money. Now you're paying the money that you have, you're paying down two mortgages. So the principals that you're paying down is now applying to two properties. And so if you wait another 5 years, 10 years maybe, what ends up happening is you've now built up or rebuilt equity in two homes. So now what you've done is that maybe at first time you could have borrowed only $50,000. You bought a second home. Now, after another 5 years have gone down, let's say you went from $100,000 and you paid it back down to 50,000, but you paid 50,000 down on two homes. So now you could actually borrow upwards of 150,000 if you do the math right there. And so when you look at it from that perspective, now you could borrow up to 150,000 and then buy a third property, and you kind of rinse and repeat. And this is how you were able to take a single property and potentially multiply it into multiple properties. Well, that's it for today. Thank you for very much for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to leave any comments below. Message me, email me, ping me on Instagram, whatever you'd like to do. I would love to get in contact with you and let me know what kinds of videos you want to hear next. Thank you and have an amazing day.